Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. My name is Metal Mike, and I'm joined here, as always, on the Sunday morning with the man with the best beard in the business, the host of The Boom every Wednesday night over on the Rivet City Radio's Twitch, and off the top of me, his YouTube channel. My co-host every Monday night for the table spot over there on the channels. Mr. Cam G. Cam, how you doing on this wonderful football Sunday?
I'm here, man. I'm alive and striving. So
I'm with you. I am with you, dude. You know, sitting back yesterday thinking about, what's going on with me personally. And, sometimes you sit and think about the negatives and the positive things in life. And the past couple days have been kind of dreary, but at the same time, yesterday was just a huge confidence boost for me. Positive thoughts, thinking about the future, thinking about what's next in life and moving forward and all that stuff. And, woke up this morning in a very, very great mood. I woke up at 5:30 this morning.
Jeez.
Yeah. I watched Penn State last night, and I fell asleep probably around like 1 o'clock, and I woke up at 5:30, and I've been up since, So, you know why? Because I'm excited to talk some football. I'm excited to be here, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Before we get into it, Cam, guys, for the next 60 minutes, we're going to be here talking about the college football top 25, the matchups from yesterday, all the upsets, 6 upsets in the top 25 yesterday, Cam. 6. Crazy. We're going to get into the news coming out of the world of football, and we're going to preview the rest of week 4 of the NFL because we already had a Thursday game. Seattle pulling out that win against Arizona on Thursday night. Pittsburgh and Minnesota are playing right now in the early morning game overseas. So we'll get into talking about the rest of week 4 in the NFL. But before we do, everybody head over to the Huddle Up Podcast over on social media. If you're on Twitch, just hit that follow button. If you're over on the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. That's how you follow. And you can also head over to X and TikTok at the Huddle Up Pod, as we're posting content pretty much on a daily basis now, because we're live on Sundays and we're live on Tuesdays. So there's always content to be putting out and help us build the build the Huddle Hub Podcast going through the 2025 season and beyond. So, Cam, let's get into it. The college football week 5 happened yesterday. And like I said, 6 upsets happened yesterday. The first upset was Arizona State defeating number 24 TCU 27-24. Virginia on Friday night defeated number 8 Florida State 46-38 in double overtime. Number 23 Illinois defeated number 21 USC 34-32. Number 13, Ole Miss defeated number 4 LSU 24-19. Number 17, Alabama defeated number 5 Georgia 24-21. And number 6, Oregon defeated number 3 Penn State in double overtime 30-24. Now, Cam, first game I want to talk about is the game that pretty much everybody was talking about yesterday was Oregon and Penn State. This matchup, over 250 days since these two teams met last in the Big Ten championship last year. Oregon ended up winning that game, went undefeated, but then lost their first playoff game in the college football playoffs last year. Fast forward to this year, we're in week 5, early season matchup. Penn State's undefeated, coming off the bye week. Oregon's undefeated. I mean, these are two powerhouse schools that were getting ready to go into a powerhouse game. The halftime score, Cam, it was 3-3 going into halftime. These defenses would not let up. Now, Oregon is a very young team. They have a lot of freshmen on their offense. Number one, hats off to them for pulling this win out, because we get into the double overtime and Oregon goes out, they score, they miss their 2-point conversion by throwing an interception. And then Penn State, on their very first play in double overtime, Drew Aller ends up throwing an interception, and Oregon seals the deal. So, Cam, your thoughts on Penn State getting upset by Oregon?
I mean, I really thought that Penn State was going to pull this out. Honestly, I mean, it was very close there, but just a critical error down the stretch, with the interception.
Yeah.
But great game. I mean, this is another double overtime game. So a lot of these teams, they were definitely battling. So it was definitely a good game, but didn't see that outcome coming for sure.
A lot of people are throwing the blame on head coach James Franklin for blowing yet another game against a top 6 team, because he was 4-20 going into this game against top 6 teams. Okay. Everybody's saying, oh, he can't win big games. He can't get past these big game situations. Cam, I want to shed some light on this. Okay. Now, Coach Franklin, he calls the play. He lets the quarterback know, or whatever player comes to the sideline know, and pulls that play and says, this is what we're running. Drew Aller's the one who controls the throw, controls what happens at the line of scrimmage. And he makes the decision on who he's throwing to. Penn State, on the ground in the second half, was a force. They came back being down by 14 points, by the way. Oregon took a lead by 14 with 10 minutes left, right? But a lot of people are going to throw this on Coach Franklin. But at the end of the day, you look at it, it's the quarterback's decision what to do at the line of scrimmage. If you don't see something you like, change it up. You have that ability. Number 2, you're the one to make the decision who you throw to. You're under pressure, throw the ball out of bounds. It was first down. You had 3 other chances to make that play. Now, Penn State the next couple weeks takes on UCLA. They take on Iowa. And I forget the other school that they take on. So non-ranked teams. And then in November, the beginning of November, they take on Ohio State, the number 1 team in the nation. If Penn State would have won last night, Penn State would have moved up to number 1. That would have happened because Ohio State beat Washington yesterday. Washington's unranked. So Penn State would have had a good chance to move up to number 1. Now they're going to fall down to probably 7 or 8 because Georgia ended up dropping to Alabama 24-21. Alabama led the whole game, did not let up, would not let Georgia take the lead. Do you have any thoughts on Alabama and Georgia?
Again, another blood feud here. And, I'm surprised that because, Georgia's been looking pretty good, honestly. So it's kind of surprising that, they lost to Alabama. It's not going to surprise me if you see one of these teams later in the season. These are probably 2 of the teams that I think a lot of people can see, winning it all this year. So, it's very shocking to see that, Georgia didn't pull this out.
There's a lot of talk about what teams could end up winning the national championship, and 3 teams were mentioned yesterday during pregame shows on them winning the national title. The Oregon Ducks were one of them. They believe that Oregon can go out and win the national title. Georgia's one of them, and Ohio State. Those are the three teams that are being predicted to go win the national championship. And then Penn State is obviously one of those hidden teams that are being picked to go out and win the national title as well. Do you think one of those top four teams right there could end up hoisting that trophy in January?
For sure. Absolutely.
And I think so too. I mean, Ohio State came out and surprised everybody last year by running the gauntlet through the playoffs and winning the national title. Everybody thought it was going to be Oregon. Ole Miss. Number 13, Ole Miss upset number 4 LSU 24-19. Cam, and I know you paid very close attention to this game yesterday. What do you have on this one?
On Florida State, Virginia?
Ole Miss and LSU.
Oh, yeah, Ole Miss and LSU. This was really good. Again, surprise here. Ole Miss really dominated defensively, I would say. They weren't giving LSU a whole lot at all. And so I'm very impressed with Ole Miss, honestly. And, they could be a sleeper team. We just talked about the teams that could potentially hoist up the trophy at the end of the season. They could be a sleeper team, honestly, and surprise a lot of people. So just the sheer dominance I think that they have right now is dangerous, for any team right now going against Ole Miss.
John is on a roll right now with making predictions as far as upsets this year. He is on air. I think he's undefeated, actually, with making predictions of upsets this season. And Ole Miss was one of his predictions. He said on Tuesday night, during the Tuesday night show, that Ole Miss is going to go out there and beat LSU. They're going to go into LSU's house and defeat them. And I agreed with him because I agree with what you just said. Ole Miss is a sleeper team. They're going to end up in the top 10 come today because the top 25 is going to be updated later on today, probably in the next hour or so. I could see Ole Miss moving up because of LSU losing, because of Georgia, because of Penn State, because of Florida State losing. I mean, 4 top 10 teams losing this week. Ole Miss very easily is going to move into the top 10. It wouldn't surprise me if they move into the top 5, if they make that big leap 8 spots up to move into number 5's position because of Georgia being number 5 and losing. So Ole Miss, yeah, they may be the bigger sleeper team this season. Last one we'll talk about, Virginia and Florida State. Florida State these past couple weeks, man, they came out, they defeated Alabama in week 1, made that big upset, surprised and shocked a lot of people. Since then have climbed the leaderboard in the top 25 and big leaps as well. I mean, they moved up from unranked to number, I believe they started off at number 15 or 18. Then they leaped up to number 10. Then they leaped up to number 8. Now losing to Virginia, they're going to fall back down. Probably not that far, but this was a very big upset for Virginia to come in and win in double overtime. So your thoughts on Florida State, Virginia, and what do you think Florida State is going to do moving forward now that they've taken their first loss of the season?
I mean, I could see them, continuing to win. They just realistically, I think, underestimated Virginia in this game, and I think that's a mistake they're not going to make the rest of the season. In terms of Virginia, a lot of people were talking about it, and a lot of people are saying that they should be ranked because of the performances they've been putting on so far this season. And this game was insane too. I mean, like that final play, and then just have the students just rush the field. That was that whole scene was just absolutely insane. So this game was intense for sure.
That was a crazy scene when that interception was made at the end of the game. That whole, just the bombardment of fans right there on the field. I think, and I'll say this, I know it's a tradition for fans to rush the field after a team upsets a team, gets a big win, but there were still players on the field, and not only on the field, but on the ground. I mean, the wide receiver from Florida State got trampled on. Yeah. There's word that he faced some injuries. I'm not sure fully on how confirmed that is, but it's the point of keep it a tradition. It can keep happening, but controlled a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, let the players get off the field first. That way you don't have any issues like this, and players don't have to worry about getting injured. Florida State, they have a pretty tough road coming up next week. They're going to be taking on number 2 Miami. Miami's been on a huge roll these past couple weeks this season. They're one of the teams that a lot of people were pretty much underestimating. A lot of people were saying, Miami, they're probably not going to do anything this year. They're number 2 in the nation. Number 2 team in the nation. So, Florida State, they got a tough task ahead of them next week, taking on Miami. But then they got Pittsburgh, Stanford, Wake Forest, Clemson, Virginia Tech, North Carolina State, and Florida to wrap up the season. So, Florida State can get past Miami next week and win and continue to roll out and win. We can very easily see Florida State back in the top 10 in no time.
Yeah.
Definitely moving up that board. So, but that's pretty much what we got from college football Saturday. Top 25 should be updated in the next couple minutes. We know around noontime is when the top 25 gets updated. So we'll definitely be talking about the updated top 25 on the Tuesday show, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with myself and John. So come join us. Cam, let's get into the news of the week. Basically, since Tuesday, all the news that has been coming out. As I switch my stuff up here. Brock Purdy, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy, he has been cleared and he is set to start against the Jaguars today. So Brock Purdy was expected to miss between 3 to 5 weeks. He was out the last 2 weeks. Mac Jones came in. 49ers win their last 2 games. They're still undefeated. So Cam, do you have any thoughts on Brock Purdy coming back? Do you feel like it's too early, or do you think this is just the right time for Brock Purdy to be coming back?
I mean, the 49ers look good right now. So, I mean, if there's any time and he's actually healthy and they're not rushing this, I think this is a great time for him to come back. And I just think they're going to continue. They're going to continue to do great things. I mean, I don't see how you have your starter and your star quarterback come back and then you do worse than what you were when he was out. So,
yeah. He's probably gonna have some of his weapons on the field today because Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall, both his wide receivers, are listed as questionable today against Jacksonville. They were out the past couple games, so they're going to be listed as questionable today. And when you're listed as questionable, that means there's an opportunity you're going to be seeing reps. Doubtful is basically saying, and I learned this week. This is the funny thing, Cam, is I study this game every day, and sometimes you miss the small things when it comes to studying something, right? And I honestly, to be honest, did not know the difference between questionable and doubtful. I learned this week. Questionable means you're going to play. Doubtful means you're out. It's not going to happen. So I learned the little things today, but Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall are questionable for today against the Jaguars as well. So Brock Purdy should have his 2 of his weapons back at wide receiver. Jaden Daniels, quarterback of the Commanders, he is going to miss his second straight game with his knee injury. Also, Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver of the Commanders, he is ruled out today with a quad injury. So the Commanders, they're having a rough start to the season. A lot of people expected them to pick up where they left off last year, but that's not the case. It seems like they can't get over the hump of continuing said path. And now star quarterback Jaden Daniels, star wide receiver Terry McLaurin, both out today. So your thoughts on the Commanders missing their quarterback and their wide receiver?
I mean, that's just rough. I mean, they should be okay. Against the Falcons, again, the Falcons are really still trying to find their footing as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's rough. That's rough, going into, trying to be what you guys were last season. So that's just not a good look, really. So that's realistically rough. But again, I think they should be okay for this week alone.
I mean, Marcus Mariota came out last week and he had a pretty good showing. Marcus Mariota, he's had a crazy path in the NFL. Getting drafted to Tennessee, spent a couple years out with the Titans. He was the starting quarterback in Atlanta 2 years ago, which is crazy. Heading back to take on Atlanta today. But but he was the starting quarterback for Atlanta in 2022 or 2023 for about 12 games, and then he got benched. So, he's going to be facing his old team today. And Marcus Mariota, good showing last week, not bad, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you have your guys on the field and healthy, and so you go out and win games. Because if you start the season 0-4, you literally have a mountain to climb, number one, to get back to 500, but then you got to pretty much run the gauntlet to try and make the playoffs. The NFC East, I believe, is out of Commander's sights. I think the division at this point is out of their sights. I think they're more focused on just getting into the postseason. And even right now, if they lose today, might be a little hard for them to do.
Yeah.
Xavier Worthy, wide receiver of the Chiefs. Now, back in week 1 against the Chargers, on the very first play of the game, he ended up in a collision with Travis Kelce. He ended up getting put on IR for the first couple weeks. He is set to play today against the Ravens. So what does this mean, Cam, for Patrick Mahomes to get one of his star wide receivers and Xavier Worthy back?
Well, like I said, that's good for this offense. This offense has really struggled. They don't look like the Chiefs of old, for sure. They look very beatable. They look very average. I've said that before. So, getting one of their weapons back on offense, they definitely should look, definitely more sharp on that side of the ball, at least. So yeah, I would say that does not bode well for the Ravens defense, who has struggled greatly, more so on the ground. They have struggled, I think, with stopping the run, but more so, even in the air, I think they just really have struggled on defense. So that doesn't bode well for them at all.
The Ravens defense is ranked number 30 in the league right now. Number 30. And like John said, the week 1 matchup against the Bills probably did not help them, because they gave up a 20-point lead, basically. So yeah, that stuff doesn't help you when it comes to the rankings. The Ravens defense, when you look at it on paper, it looks good. It looks like it could be a dominant defense. They have not shown that the past couple weeks, even against the Browns, did not show that. So, for Xavier Worthy to come back for the Chiefs, this is going to be a good thing for the Chiefs, especially going out and facing the Ravens defense. So we may end up seeing the Chiefs get their second win in a row today, because this is going to be a big battle in the AFC. And this is a big game. Even though they're not in the same division, this is playoff placement, possible home field advantage, depending on how things are going. I mean, the Colts right now, they're undefeated. The Bills are undefeated. We have one more team in the AFC that's undefeated. And
Chargers.
Yeah, there you go. Chargers. You're right. So, I mean, still the point, even though those teams are undefeated still, doesn't matter right now. It all matters later on in the season what you finish with, because home field advantage is a very important thing in the playoffs. So, Devontae Adams, wide receiver of the Rams, he is questionable for the game against the Colts today. The Rams, as we've seen last week, a big upset when the Eagles made their comeback at halftime last week against the Rams. Devontae Adams it didn't disclose what injury he's dealing with. It just said that he's questionable for today. So he suffered something last week against the Eagles that is leaving him questionable for today. So Justin Fields, quarterback of the Jets, he's cleared from concussion protocol and will play against the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. So how big is this for the Jets to get back Justin Fields?
I mean, it should be big, honestly, because they've also really struggled. Actually, I take that back. They've looked great. They just can't finish games. That's really what it is. They can't finish games. So, I mean, against the Dolphins, again, that team is a disaster right now. That team's a mess.
It is.
Just from top to bottom, from leadership to on the field, they're just a mess right now. So, I'm rooting for them, and hopefully they get their first win here, because I think they're probably the best 0-3 team right now, because they have so many weapons. They have a great defense, I think, a great offense, and they just can't finish games. So, but this should honestly be their first win. So this is major for them.
You're honestly not wrong on that. They might be the best 0-3 team right now. I mean, Quinn Williams, Sauce Gardner on that defense, two dominant players, one on the front four, one in the backfield. Then you got Justin Fields. You got
Brees Hall.
Priest Hall. Yeah, I mean they got an insane offense.
Yes,
They do. They have a good offense. It's just all about not tripping over the shoelaces. Finish games, win. I think this week on Monday Night Football, that's where we're going to see the Jets get their first win. I think Justin Fields is going to come back. I think the Jets are going to have a big game. I'm going to say this right now, Cam. I have Baker Mayfield on my fantasy team and Justin Fields on my bench. I'm switching them up. I'm going to start Justin this week.
Hey, I don't blame you.
Well, I mean, the thing is, too, is Baker is questionable for today because he was dealing with some stuff this week. Apparently he's been dealing with a lot of mental stuff that he had to take a couple extra practice reps because of it. So I mean, Justin Fields seems like the more sure thing to go with this week. So, two more things when it comes to news. Terrell Williams, defensive coordinator of the Patriots, was announced that he was diagnosed with prostate cancer this week. Now it's unconfirmed whether he's going to continue coaching or not. I believe he's going to continue coaching while getting his treatment for the prostate cancer. But well wishes to him, and hopefully he recovers and gets back to 100%. And then Russell Wilson, quarterback of the Giants, we know he was benched on Tuesday. It was announced that Jackson Dart, the rookie, first-round draft pick for the Giants in the 2025 draft, will start this week. But there's some trade rumors looming around that Russell Wilson may be traded within the next 2 weeks. Now, one of the teams, Cam, that's being highlighted for this trade is the Steelers. Now, Russell Wilson last year played for the Steelers, had a pretty good year statistically. Wasn't a bad statistic year for him, but couldn't get them over that playoff hump. Now, I know you're a Steelers fan, so the question goes out to you as a fan. How would you feel if the Steelers went out and picked up Russell Wilson and brought him back to Pittsburgh?
I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel like that ship has sailed. They should have figured that out with the whole Russ and Fields conundrum that they were dealing with last year. My pick was keep Fields, let Russ go. That was my pick.
I'm with you.
So I don't know. If they go back to Russ, it's not going to make a lot of sense. It's basically them admitting they're wrong. It's them admitting they're foul. Like, oh, we let Russ go and we probably shouldn't have. So I don't know. I think that's just going backwards. I don't really think they should pick him up because I don't see them doing anything with him. I think he's going to be right back in the same position he's in right now with the Giants. So.
I mean, the Steelers went out and they committed to Aaron Rodgers and picked him up and brought him in as the starter. But the last reports I've seen that Aaron Rodgers, I mean, they're playing out in Minnesota right now. They're up 14-6. I believe that Rodgers actually suffered an injury in this game. I didn't get to see the game. I haven't been able to watch the game because I don't have the network, the NFL network. But I thought I seen that Rodgers suffered an injury during this game. I'm trying to see if I can pull up any type of statistics. Okay, no, yeah, it seems like he's playing.
He's still in.
Yeah, you're right. He's still in. Yeah, so I don't know. He's 13 of 15, 166 yards and a touchdown. So he's doing fairly well today.
I think he almost did, and one of his defenders saved him basically. So that's what it was.
Got you. That's the bad part about some of these overseas games, to the fact that if you don't have the network or you don't have a way to watch it, you can't see what's happening. And I was hoping to have it, but I don't. But Rodgers playing fairly well, 13 of 15, 166 yards and a touchdown, no interceptions. So yeah, doing fairly well out there. But Russell Wilson going back to the Steelers. Do I think it would be a step backwards for them? I would be 50-50 on it because, again, he didn't do bad statistically, but there comes a point where you got to start thinking about where your success was and where you weren't successful. Russ, we know, was very successful in Seattle. Brought brought a Super Bowl trophy to Seattle for the first time ever. Had a lot of success. Went to Denver. Statistically, was good. Couldn't win games, couldn't get into the playoffs, crap the bed. Went to Pittsburgh. Got them to the playoffs, couldn't get over the hump. Now he's in New York. And you look at New York's quarterback room, you got Russell Wilson, you got Jameis Winston, you got Jackson Dart. They have a decently good quarterback room out in New York. New York's big problem is their offensive line. It's terrible. The defense, not that good. But they have good receivers. They have a good running back room. But if you don't have the guys to block and give time to the quarterback's not going to look good. And that's what's happening to Russ. He's ending up in situations to where he does not look good. I think he was a year trying to think of the best way to say this. So Denver's offensive line got good the year that Bo Nix took over when Russ left. Okay. Now he leaves Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers, his statistics right now are looking good. Now they just got to go out and win games. That's it. And the Steelers have the team to do it. And if the Steelers end up becoming and pick up things and start becoming successful and win games and get to the playoffs, get over that, it's like Russell Wilson just keeps missing that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for him to go back to Pittsburgh and take over, that's where that 50% of taking that step back, it bothers me.
Yeah.
I think Pittsburgh lets Aaron Rodgers ride this out because he's not doing bad. He had one really bad game. Other than that, we're in week 4. They're 1-2. I mean, ride it out with Aaron. I think the Steelers would do fairly better with Aaron opposed to having Russ come back and take over. So that's all we got from the news. There are other players that are on the rumor list as far as trades and everything like that. We're not going to run down that list. We'll run down that list more towards the trade deadline, which is in week 9. So we're just quite not there yet. We're going to be there soon enough, which is crazy, But 2-1, okay. I didn't look at the records. I just didn't. We're going to take a 45-second break. Everybody head over to the social medias right now. Hit that follow button, and we'll be back in 45 seconds. So make sure you're heading over to all the Huddle Hub Podcast social medias right now. If you're on the Twitch channel, make sure you're hitting that follow button. If you're on the YouTube channel, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. That's how you follow on YouTube. You can also head over to the Huddle Hub Podcast X and TikTok at the Huddle Hub Pod and hit that follow button there. Would definitely be appreciated and help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast going through the 2025 season and beyond. We are growing, Cam. The channel is growing. I always say, Cam, that one follower is better than none. And people are, it seems like people are liking what we're doing. We're gaining a follower almost every other day, which is great. It's amazing. And it's fun to see the growth. It is. It's really fun to see the growth. And we surpassed, Cam, I looked at the statistics. We surpassed 26,000 views on YouTube in the first month, which is great. Yeah, man, which is great. Exciting. All right, let's get into week 5. The rest of week 4's matchups in the NFL. Steelers and Vikings playing right now. That game is deep into the third quarter. So let's start off with the 1 o'clock set of games. The Commanders are heading out to Atlanta, Cam, to take on the Falcons. Marcus Mariota, like I said, taking on his old team. What do you got on the Commanders and the Falcons?
I mean, I've noticed this, but the last couple of weeks I've been completely wrong about a lot of these teams that I just doubt. So I'll say this: Marcus Mariota, I think, definitely has something to prove. I think he proved that last week. So I don't know. I'm giving the edge to the Commanders just because Marcus Mariota, I definitely do believe is going to be a lot better than I think most people think with this Commanders team. Like I said, Falcons, I don't know. Like they look okay, but again, this is a team that just doesn't realistically know how to start or finish games, really. So they have to figure that out.
So, I mean, the Falcons last week came out. They lost 30-0 to the Panthers. A lot of people didn't expect that to happen. They didn't expect that to happen at all because of the way the Panthers were playing. Bryce Young had a little over 100 yards passing. I mean, the Panthers looked good on the defensive side of the ball, which hopefully they can continue doing what they're doing. We'll talk about the Panthers in a few moments when they play the Patriots today. But as far as the Falcons, I mean, for them, it's all about getting started. They have the team and the ability to go out and win games. You look at their roster and it's like, my God, they are stacked. They are stacked. Now it's just all about getting the offense going. Their defense, not too bad. They're a good defense. As far as the Commanders, like I said, dealing with the Jaden Daniels injury, the Terry McLaurin injury, those two key players being out. They also lost Austin Eckler for the year. I mean, their running back position just not looking good. The Commanders, and I said this at the beginning of the year, I do not think the Commanders are going to do what they did last year. And my main point of that was because they are not the same team. They made roster changes. That was my main point on that. But now when you look at what they're dealing with the injuries, makes it even worse for them. Makes it even worse. I guarantee they are now regretting trading away Brian Robinson Jr. to San Francisco. Guarantee they're regretting that move. Now, I'm taking the Falcons today. I think the Falcons may be able to get a jump start today and take advantage of the situation the Commanders are in. I think they could. So I'm going with the Falcons on this one today. We got the Chargers heading out to New York to take on the Giants. Jackson Dart, rookie quarterback, drafted in the first round in the 2025 NFL Draft, is going to get his first start against the undefeated Chargers. Your thoughts on the Chargers and Giants?
Again, the Giants, it seemed like they just kind of fizzled out after the Cowboys game. Realistically, just kind of going back to, just not really looking like much of a professional football team. Now, them going from Russ to Jackson Dart, giving Jackson Dart now the start, I think is a okay move. I don't know if that's a great move. I mean, because the thing I hate what a lot of these NFL teams do is they wait until they're in deep water, or in trouble. Their season is at risk, and then they throw the rookies in there, and it's like you're kind of throwing them into the deep end, and it's like now they've got to be the ones to get a paddle boat and realistically get you out of that, which sucks. So that realistically, I know all Giants fans are excited for Jackson Dart. I'm not so much because I just feel like they're putting him in a tough situation. But at the same time, this is his opportunity to prove why he should be the starter in the first place. So this is a big game for him. I'm still giving the Chargers the edge on this one, though, just because, like I said, the Chargers right now, defensively, offensively, they look pretty dangerous, just like the Packers. And I've said that in the past as well. The Chargers, again, are probably another sleeper team, I think, in the NFL. So I'm giving the edge to the Chargers. I just don't think the Giants have what it takes to beat the Chargers. Really, I don't.
This is the situation the Giants are throwing Jackson Dart into. Chargers defense today, the Saints next week, the Eagles defense the following week, the Broncos defense after that, and then the Eagles defense again. And then the 49ers on November 2nd. Oh, by the way, the Bears, the Packers, the Lions. The next defense that they play that Jackson Dart might be able to take advantage of is on December 1st against the Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
Because I wouldn't even look past the Saints defense next week. The Saints defense is not that bad. It's not as bad as people think it is. Because you look at the Saints, they're staying in games. They are, because of their defense. Not a bad looking defense. The next opportunity Jackson Dart will have to take advantage of a defense is December 1st against the Patriots. You look at this lineup, the Eagles, the Bears, the Chargers. I mean, Jackson Dart is being thrown into the gauntlet right now. And you said about the problem with the teams, they get to a point where they say, okay, now we're just going to throw the rookie in and see what he can do. I have a problem with rookie quarterbacks being day one starters. You go back to the early 2000s, 90s, and beforehand, a rookie quarterback gets drafted. They sit on the bench for a year or two. Aaron Rodgers sat on the bench for 5 years behind Brett Favre before he got his first start as the QB1 in Green Bay, right? Now, Brett Favre, he did get injured, and Aaron started a game, but his first official takeover start was 5 years after he got drafted. Now you get into, since 2013 or 2014, rookie quarterback gets drafted, day one starter. And I think that's a problem, because the player does not get a chance to learn the system, does not get a chance to learn how fast the NFL is. And some of them have early success, like CJ Stroud did in year one, Jaden Daniels did last year. But then they get into that sophomore year and the fatigue sets in. If they don't have a good enough team around them, they fall off. Look at CJ Stroud the past 2 years. Hasn't been good for him. Jaden Daniels, he's out with the second game as with injury. I think things need to go back to the old ways, letting rookie quarterbacks sit for at least minimum 2 years before saying, hey, you're our guy now. Instead, they're throwing him into the deep end. And like you said, they're pretty much going downstream with one paddle or no paddle at all. And in Jackson Dart's case right now, I think he's using his hands to paddle that boat. So I took the Chargers on this one. The Titans head out to Houston to take on the Texans today. Huge AFC South matchup. What do you got on the Titans and Texans, Cam?
The Texans, I mean, you just talked about CJ Stroud. I mean, it's sad because he's realistically, I feel like he's starting to fizzle out in out there in Houston. And it's not his fault. It's just because of that team structure. And of course, it's that O-line. That O-line is absolutely horrible. And they're just not really doing him any wonders. This is kind of looking like this similar situation out in Cincinnati. And it's only a matter of time. And I don't want to wish this on him, but before he gets hurt, and it's unfortunate because they're wasting his best years away. Even after he got, basically christened by, Tom Brady himself, to be, the next great. And I don't see that. I don't see that out of him, not in Houston anyways. So that's unfortunate because I'm a big CJ Stroud fan. And then, like I said, the Titans, again, we just talked about the rookie position, for, quarterback, Cam Ward. I mean, like I said, he does some things really, really well. I think they're starting to try to clean it up. I saw that against the Colts. So this is realistically a tough one because I think it is a must win for both of these teams. I'm going to give the slight edge to, I guess, the Texans because they are more established. Again, this is still a fresh semi-restart for the Titans and that offense. And again, they're still trying to find out who they are or whatnot have you. So I'm going to go with the Texans on this one.
Cam Ward's statistics this year: 506 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, one interception. Number one, I'm taking the Texans today. I said this at the beginning of the year that I don't see the Titans making any drastic advancements or being on the positive side of things. I think the Titans are going to have the same outcome they had last year, if not worse. I have them predicted, I believe, going either 3-14 or 2-15. I do not have them doing anything this year. I feel bad for Cam Ward because you want to talk about Jackson Dart getting thrown into the deep end. At least he has a team around him. Yeah, you look at the Titans team. I mean, the Titans are a mess right now. I mean, they got a lot of cleaning up to do out in Tennessee. And Cam Ward, yeah, you could put him as your center of attention. He's gonna sell you tickets in the first 6 weeks of the season. But once we start getting into the dog days of the wintertime and the playoff race starts happening, you're going to be looking at Titans ticket sales, and you'll be able to spend $20 to get into a Titans game. Sadly enough.
Yeah.
By week 8 last year, Cam, the Panthers, it was $25 to get into a Panthers game. By week 8. I see that for the Titans. I do. I see it. So I'm going Texans today. Eagles and Bucks. Now the Eagles, Jalen Hurts is 1-4 against Tampa Bay. Not a good record against Tampa Bay. Now we've seen the last time these two teams met was, I believe it was last season. Either last season or the last time they met was in the playoffs 2 years ago, and the Eagles got beat. Got eliminated from the playoffs, coming off the Super Bowl loss year to the Chiefs. Heading into Tampa Bay today, the Buccaneers have some questionable things happening with them. Baker Mayfield dealing with some stuff. They got some injuries in the wide receiver room. What are you looking for from the Eagles-Bucks game today with these two teams being undefeated?
This could be a shootout, honestly. Even with whatever Baker's dealing with, he just right now he just knows how to turn up the intensity, I think, in games, and he just has this determination to win. I've said that before about him. Right now, he's just on a tear right now. I think these first couple of weeks. The thing that scares me about him, though, is he plays this hero ball, I think, too much. Where he's not your typical, sliding quarterback. I mean, he's not afraid to take contact. Like he I think he likes it, honestly. And that scares me because, like I said, he can get seriously injured, and then it's like, what do the Bucks do now? So that definitely scares me about him. But again, that's just how he plays. He plays hard. And I like his, I like this Bucks team. I realistically do. They have a couple of injuries. I don't think they have anything season ending with their injuries right now. But they do have a couple of injuries that are sort of piling up. So I think when they get healthy, or healthier, I should say, I think they should realistically be looking a lot better. I like it. I like Ibuka. Ibuka, he's been playing really well as well. And I think I expect big things from him down the stretch of the season as well. In terms of the Eagles, like I said, again, I think this might be, outside of maybe the Chiefs, maybe their first real big test, I think, against a team that I think looks really, really good. I can't even really count the Chiefs because, like I said, again, the Chiefs don't look like, until they recently got their first win, haven't looked like the Chiefs of old. So this might be their first real test here. The Bucks' realistic chance to win this game is to stop the run, and that's just not something you hear of when you think of Saquon Barkley. You can slow him down, but you're not. I don't think you're stopping Saquon Barkley. You can slow him down, but I don't think you're stopping Saquon Barkley. I'm giving the Eagles the edge on this one. I just think they're out to prove, again, why they are the defending champions. So
the past couple of weeks, you looked at the Eagles when it came specifically to their defense. Week 1 against the Cowboys, and I've been saying it, if CD makes the 2 catches he makes, Cowboys can get in position to win the game. Okay? Defensive backfield did not look like the defensive backfield that won a Super Bowl. You get into week 2 against Kansas City, looked a little better. You get to the Rams, first half looked a little rough. Second half came out, defense played phenomenal. It's like the Eagles' defense specifically made advancements as quarters went on. I don't even want to say weeks. Quarters went on. The offense, it's like people want to say, oh, Jalen didn't even throw for 100 yards against the Chiefs. And then he comes out against the Rams and just completely controls that second half of that game, brings the Eagles back, and bam, they win the game. The Buccaneers in their first 3 games, Cam, have won the game in the last minute. Literally, the last minute. They are the first team to do it since 1970 in the first 3 games of the season. Last minute, get the ball, drive down, win the game. That's Tampa Bay's formula right now. I don't know if it's their mentality, but it's the formula that's happening. I don't think that works against Philly today. I don't. Philly's coming off that big comeback win last week. They are poised. They are ready to go. I'm not saying Philly's going to come out and destroy Tampa today by all means. Tampa is a great-looking football team. But I don't think Tampa Bay wins this game today. This game, when I seen this game on the schedule, it scared me. It did. I even gave the Buccaneers in my predictions to win. But today, I'm taking the Eagles. I have to. They're a lot more healthier. They're going to have all their weapons on the field. And come 1 o'clock, we'll find out whether Baker is in full strength or not. We'll find out. And again, I can't trust him on my fantasy team. I can't. I have to start Justin today. With everything I heard this week about him, I can't trust it. I want to, but I can't. So, Panthers and Patriots are going to be playing out in New England today. 2 teams that are, the Panthers end up picking up their win last week, 30-0 over the Falcons. The Patriots are still, trying to find their way with a new head coach, new staff, everything. And Cam, I said this to John. On Tuesday. What's crazy is watch this be the game of the week. Watch this game be that must-watch game. What are your thoughts on the Panthers-Patriots?
You could be right on that one. But when I look at this, I go, I don't see it being another 30-0 win for the Panthers. But I think the Patriots are realistically already starting to lose their grip on the early half of the season. And I think it's the perfect time for the Panthers because the Panthers, I think, are starting to get their footing and they're riding high off of that blowout victory from last week. So I'm taking the Panthers, and I don't even think it's going to be close. Realistically, I don't. So
Bryce Young, last week threw for 121 yards. Didn't have a touchdown. Didn't turn the ball over either, and that's going to be a key for the Panthers. Don't turn the ball over. Don't give the Patriots a reason to come out and win. Just hold on the ball, get the ball in the end zone. Hell, if the Panthers can win 3-0, do it. Do it. Get that win. It's a cheap win, but it's a win. So the Saints are going to head out to Buffalo today and take on the powerhouse Bills. Cam, now I'm going to say this right now. I don't see the Saints coming in and even having a freaking chance. I don't. No. And I guess, after last week, saying this about the Browns against the Packers and then the Browns going in and winning,
yeah,
it's kind of hard to say that, but I'm going to say it anyways. I don't see the Saints having a chance. I don't. I think the Bills completely just wipe them out. But what are your thoughts on the Saints and Bills?
You talked up the Saints defense, so it's just kind of having me a little iffy now.
I did.
I don't see this being. It's not going to be close, but I don't see it being a complete blowout because I feel like, again, to your point, the Saints defense I think will, try to keep them in it somewhat. But I'm with you though. Like I said, I realistically it'll be the biggest shocker next to the Browns and Packers last week if the Saints do manage to pull this out. But yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. I think the Bills just completely wipe the floor with the Saints in this game today.
The Browns coming off their big win against the Packers last week. They are now going to head out to Detroit and take on the Lions, another NFC North team. Now, the Browns are the number 1 defense in the league right now, but their offense is looking a little shaky. What are you looking for from the Browns and the Lions today?
Lightning could strike twice. they could beat another really good team that they have no business beating in the Lions. And it's all going to come down to their defense. Like I said, their defense is looking really scary right now. With that being said, this is going to be their first real test, because will they be able to stop this run heavy offense with the Lions? Montgomery, Gibbs, they will literally run all over the field on you if you can't stop them.
Yeah.
And they will abuse that and bully any defense who they know can't stop them. So this is the Browns defense, real true first test. So we'll definitely have to see what they do here. But I'm giving the edge to the Lions right now. Again, they're starting to look like the Lions of old, dominant and just playing bully ball again. Like they just bully any defense that they know can't stop them.
There was a clip that came out last week. One of the Packers offensive linemen. Now, Myles Garrett beat him in a few matchups last week. And on the one matchup that he beat this offensive lineman on, the offensive lineman was literally yelling back to Jordan Love, run. Just run. So we'll have to see if that Browns defense can keep them in this game today and come out and beat the Detroit Lions. We'll get into the 4 o'clock set of games. Also, Monday night and Sunday night football. The Jaguars are going to head out to San Francisco to take on the unbeaten 49ers. What are you looking for in the Jaguars-49ers game today?
I mean, with the 49ers getting back Brock Purdy, I would say the 49ers come out and they look pretty sharp here. Giving the edge to the Niners. The Jags don't look bad either. I mean, they've impressed me, I think, the last couple of weeks, because I really didn't expect much from them. But yeah, though, I'm definitely giving the edge to the Niners here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the 49ers as well. I said the same thing about the Jaguars that I did about the Titans and a couple other teams that I just don't see advancement in Jacksonville. I mean, they go out and they got some good draft picks and change some things up on their roster and everything. But my biggest worry for them is at the quarterback position with Trevor Lawrence. I don't see Trevor Lawrence being their guy for the future. I've even said I see Trevor Lawrence getting traded in the next year or two. I don't see him being in Jacksonville long. If he doesn't get them to where they want to be by the end of this year, and that's an above 500 team. I'm not even talking about the playoffs. I'm just saying above 500 or at 500. He's going to have next year to be on that hot seat and get the Jaguars to the postseason. And if he doesn't, I believe he's out of Jacksonville. I don't see him lasting long in Jacksonville if he cannot advance this team and show production.
Where do you see him going?
Where do I see him going? So when there was trade rumors about him last year, the 3 teams I seen him going to was New England, Pittsburgh, and the Giants. Were the 3 teams. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and could I still see him going? Giants, no. If Jackson Dart comes out and shows some type of production, then they're going to stick with Jackson Dart moving forward. So the Giants would be off the table. Pittsburgh's in a position, yes, they went out and they drafted a quarterback. I get that. But if Pittsburgh does things right, you're going to keep that rookie on the bench. Will Howard can be that rookie that sits on the bench and sits behind a veteran and learns about the NFL, everything that a rookie should be doing. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean by you have Aaron Rodgers there. Aaron Rodgers is engaged in Pittsburgh. Now, if they would bring in somebody like a Trevor Lawrence, do I see Trevor Lawrence doing the same thing as an Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. I can't sit here and say yes. I can't sit here and say no. But if Pittsburgh is going to move on from Aaron next year, find another veteran to come in and lead Will Howard. Don't put him into the fire. Don't. If Jacksonville is willing to make that move, bring Trevor Lawrence in. Why not? I always say this, Cam. Certain players fit in certain systems. Okay? Sam Darnold is one that's proving my point for me. Okay? Did batting in New York for the Jets, did bat out in Carolina for the Panthers. he had a small stint in San Francisco, did pretty decent there, but then he goes out to Minnesota. And Kevin O'Connell is a quarterback-friendly coach. What did he do in Minnesota last year? 14-3, made the playoffs, almost won the division. Yeah, lost in the first round to the Rams. But now Sam Darnold, who's out in Seattle, is having one hell of a season so far. So it's all about being in the right system. Could Pittsburgh be the right system for Trevor Lawrence? Who knows? Who knows? And we wouldn't know until that happens. Now, Mike Tomlin, I think, just like Aaron Rodgers, he has that relationship with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if he has that type of relationship with any other quarterbacks, but could I see Trevor Lawrence fitting in Pittsburgh with the way Pittsburgh schemes their offense and the way Trevor plays? I think they would fit. I do. I partially think that Trevor Lawrence would fit in Pittsburgh. So, but we'll have to see. The Indianapolis Colts are going to head out to Los Angeles and take on the Rams. The Rams coming off their first loss of the season to the Eagles last week. The Colts continue to roll. Cam, the Colts have only punted the ball away one time in the first 3 weeks of the season. One time. They are the first team to do it in the Super Bowl era, so they are in the record books for that. What do you see in the Colts and Rams game today?
Again, I think this is that Colts defense first true test. The Rams have a lot of weapons right now. Matthew Stafford looks pretty well as well. Nakua, he looks great as always. So they definitely got their work cut out for him, I think, here. But I don't think it's unwinnable. I realistically don't. I don't see the Rams running away with this game. I would even say I think the Rams are the underdogs in this. The Colts right now look really, really, really good. Daniel Jones is he's a completely different person. I don't even know who that is out here. So that's insane. You had even asked me like, what's in the water out there? I was like, I don't know. I have no idea, but I had said he probably took the same water from those creatures in Space Jam, and now he's just playing like a freaking monster now. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna give the edge to the Colts here. They look really, 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 really good. So who knows? We could be looking at a 4-0 Colts.
Daniel Jones is also another quarterback, kind of proving my point. You get into the right system, there's a chance that your career could be rejuvenated. And Daniel Jones at Indianapolis is playing like nobody thought he would.
No.
He comes in, takes over the quarterback job, and the Colts are rolling right now. They're the best team in the AFC, if not probably the best team in football right now. And what's great about it is they are not getting a lot of attention. I always say that a lot of teams, good teams that don't get that spotlighted attention are going to make the most noise. A couple years ago, the Falcons, they made it to the Super Bowl against the Patriots. Now we know how that outcome happened. Patriots came back down 28-3, came back, won the Super Bowl in overtime. Okay. But that year, the Falcons were not in the spotlight. The media was not making a big fuss about it. Media is not making a big fuss about the Colts right now either. Are they being mentioned? Yeah, they're being mentioned, but there's not this big camaraderie, not this big fuss. And if that continues and the Colts keep rolling, the Colts are going to have a lot more success than people thought they were. And I'm guilty of sitting here saying that I didn't think the Colts were going to have this great of success either. Yeah. And they're having a lot of really success. I'm going with the Colts today against the Rams. I think the Rams suffer their second loss of the season. I mean, Indianapolis got me believing, and specifically Daniel Jones got me believing. So go Indy. The Bears are going to head out to Vegas to take on the Raiders. The Bears coming off their first win of the season last week. Not only that, Caleb Williams threw for 4 touchdown passes against the Cowboys last week. Now, Caleb Williams is trying to become the first quarterback in Bears history to throw for 4,000 yards. He's 3,285 yards away from doing so, Cam, with 14 games left. Now, he's got Chicago amped up right now. I mean, the Bears have, after coming off that big win against the Cowboys last week, has Chicago amped up so much that there was a hot dog place in Chicago last week on Tuesday. They made a post on Sunday saying they're going to give away free hot dogs on Tuesday if Caleb Williams ends up throwing 4 touchdowns against the Cowboys. Well, They had to give away some free hot dogs on Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah, they did. So, Cam, your thoughts on the Bears and Raiders?
Right now, I think the Bears look a lot better. Hopefully the Raiders can clean it up for sure. I think Geno is really, really good. Struggling right now out there in Las Vegas. So I don't really realistically know why, but hopefully they clean that up for sure. Maybe the pressure of Tom Brady sitting in the booth, I think, kind of scared them. That's what I'm thinking. But who knows? Maybe they can. Hopefully, they can shake that off in this game. But I'm giving the edge to the Bears. They're riding high off of beating the Cowboys, which I didn't see coming at all, for sure. So yeah, Caleb Williams looking pretty good. The Bears might finally have found their identity and know how to close out games, because we talked about that before in length. Just the fact that they could come out looking great and then just, I don't know what it is, they just completely just stop. It's almost as if like they hit the pause button on playing the game and they just allow their opponents to get back in the game, and they just lose games like that. So maybe they have finally shaken that off, and they're officially going to start their season now. So I'm giving the edge to the Bears.
I'm actually going with the Raiders in this game. I mean, the Raiders are you watch the Raiders right now, and they're not losing games by big deficits. It's almost like they're letting games slip through their fingers. Not only that, they're letting opportunities slip through their fingers. It was a week or two on Monday Night Football that they played and had it was against the Chargers. On Monday Night Football, had 3 opportunities to come back and not only tie the game, but actually take the lead, and they just did not take the opportunity. If they clean that up and start taking advantage of the opportunities that are in front of them, they can start winning ball games. And the Raiders have a team to do it. They have a pretty good-looking team. I think the Raiders get the win today against Chicago. I do. Chicago, the one thing that Chicago doesn't take advantage of is continuing momentum. They had a great win against the Cowboys last week. I'll give them that. But they have a problem with continuing momentum and building off of it. That's their problem. So I got to go with the Raiders today. The game of the week, the Ravens, the Chiefs, out in Kansas City. Is this a preview of the AFC Championship game? Maybe. Could it be a preview of just even an AFC playoff game? Maybe. Cam, what do you got? Baltimore, Kansas City, Chiefs, Ravens.
This is important, I would say. Ravens have definitely struggled, and they shouldn't have. I mean, you look at how stacked they are. Lamar is definitely playing a little bit different this year. I would say he's throwing a lot more this year than he has in previous years. So I definitely think they're relying more so on his arm than they are so much more on his legs. And then, like I said, with their run game, I don't know. I don't know what happened to Derrick Henry, but he has fumbled 3 times in the first 3 games, and he's actually leading the league right now. So that's crazy, because that's not like Derrick Henry at all. But I don't know. I see that playing a factor. If the Chiefs defense can definitely take advantage of that. So I gotta go. I gotta go with the Ravens on this one. I gotta go with the Ravens slightly, because I just feel like they definitely have to know that this is important. This is their AFC. This is you just said it. This could be an AFC championship game. This could be an AFC game in the playoffs. So this is important. If you can't beat them now, I mean, it's going to be that much harder in the playoffs. So got to go with the Ravens for this one.
Derrick Henry against the Bills ran the ball 18 times for 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. Against the Browns, 11 times for 23 yards, and then against the Lions, 12 for 50 yards and a touchdown. Derrick Henry, I mean, he looks like a force of a running back, but his consistency is just not there. That was the one thing last year. Me and John talked about this off air, was the competition between Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley last year. Saquon, he started off hot against the Packers. Then he had a couple games where he kind of slowed down. by the midway point, Derrick Henry was in the lead for the rushing title. But then Derrick Henry slowed down and Saquon picked things up. Saquon ended up winning the rushing title. Do I still think Saquon can beat Derrick Henry for the rushing title this year? He can. But Saquon's got to pick it up. He's got to. His first couple games have not been the greatest either. So it's going to be a dash to the finish line. Crazy enough, the best running back in the league right now is Jonathan Taylor out in Indianapolis. Is that surprising? No, not with the way Indy's playing right now. And I don't think anybody expected Jonathan Taylor to be in that position.
Yeah.
So Derrick Henry has to have some type of consistency when it comes to running the ball, or else the Ravens, they're not going to win as many games as they expect to win. So we'll just see if they can go out and beat the Chiefs today, though, out in Kansas City. Sunday Night Football. 1 second here. Okay. Sunday Night Football, we got the Packers heading out to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. It is the return of Micah Parsons to Dallas. He got traded on August 28th to Green Bay. It is September 28th, 1 month ago today. Micah Parsons got traded to the Packers from Dallas. What do you got on the Packers and the Cowboys?
This is serious. I think that Micah has probably had this game circled on his calendar for a while now. I expect him to have a big game, honestly. Like he has a lot to prove, honestly. So yeah, definitely look out for Micah Parsons, because I could expect him to be a serious issue for the Cowboys today. I'm gonna give the edge to the Packers in this one. Again, like I said, the Cowboys, like I said again, they have all these weapons and all this. I think they're dealing with a couple of injuries, though, a couple of key injuries. I think CeeDee Lamb's hurt.
Yeah, he's out for a couple weeks. Yep.
So that's major as well. Because I don't think to try to rely on George Pickens is an issue, because he's there sometimes and it's like, okay, he'll make a catch here, make a catch there. But then if you have to rely on him to make some sort of clutch catch, he may or may not catch that. And that's a big trust thing with the quarterback and the wide receiver. They have to be able to rely on you to make not just some of those catches, but all of those catches. I don't think Pickens is that guy. I really don't. So we'll have to see there. But Packers, to me, look like the better team. And they had a slip up last week against that defense. But this week, I don't think they have that problem. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the Packers had a slip up last week. They had a rough game against Cleveland. I think they bounce back tonight and they end up beating the Cowboys. I don't think Micah Parsons was the only person that had this game circled on their calendar. I think if you are a fan of football, you had this game circled on your calendar.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Whether Micah Parsons got traded to Green Bay or not, because when you think of Green Bay and Dallas, you think of the rich history between these two teams in the regular season, the playoffs, everything. Packers Cowboys is almost like saying, hey, I'm going to watch the Chiefs and the Bills, or I'm going to watch the Raiders and the Patriots, the Colts and the Patriots. You know, it's that non-division, conference matchup, long history, whatever you want to call it. It's one of those games that you circle on your calendar saying, Sunday Night Football, I'm going to record whatever show I watch on Sunday night because I need to watch the Packers and Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. So Monday night, we get two games. We got an AFC East matchup between the Jets and the Dolphins, and then we got the Bengals and the Broncos in the late game. The Bengals, they're missing Joe Burrow. Had a rough go last week. The Jets, they're getting Justin Fields back. What do you got on the Jets and Dolphins? What do you got on the Bengals and the Broncos on Monday night?
I mean, like I said, I think the Jets have the advantage here, getting back Justin Fields. I think they realistically should cruise into a victory here with the Dolphins. The Dolphins, they look semi-good, but it's realistically a disconnect with just leadership and just players. They are clearly not on the same, just same whatever. Just they're just not on the same page at all right now. I mean, you hear that when they do their post game interviews or whatever. They're practically at each other's throats. They don't like each other at all. That's just what I get from it, at least. And then with the Bengals and Broncos, I guess I'm going with the Broncos here. They've kind of been slipping a little bit here in there too as well, but they still look pretty good. But I like how Bo Nix looks out there for right now. Bengals, it's a complete disaster. I was completely wrong. I thought they would have been fine with Jake Browning, but I don't think so. Right now, it looks like a mess right now with the Bengals. So they definitely have a lot to think about for Monday night. But I'm giving the edge to the Broncos on that one.
Jake Browning went 19-27 for 140 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions last week in their big loss to Minnesota. Meanwhile, Carson Wentz went 14-20 for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns for the Vikings. Okay, it was the battle of the backups. This was a game that I thought was going to be highlighted. Like I said about the Panthers and Patriots a few minutes ago, watch this be the game of the week. I said that about the Bengals and the Vikings last week. It didn't end up being the game of the week, but Carson Wentz came out and showed out and completely dominated that game for Minnesota. Jake Browning, I mean, the Broncos defense, when you look at the Broncos defense, they're midway. They're ranked in the top 15. They're not a bad defense. They have an opportunity to come out and take over this game against Cincinnati. They do. I do not see Cincinnati winning on Monday night against Denver. I don't see Jake Browning coming out and taking control of this game. I don't see it. Where's Jamar Chase? Where's T. Higgins? Where's this Bengals offense that they have? That this team spent millions of dollars on to keep together. Yeah, Joe Burrow's not there, but Jake Browning has come out and proved in the past that he can take this team to wins. Hopefully they worked on that this week, got him into form, and got him to a point where he can come out and control this offense and start getting on track for Cincinnati. I just don't see that happening this week against Denver. The Jets, I think the Jets are going to come out and have a showing against the Dolphins. The Dolphins are completely falling apart. When you have a team like Tua Tagovailoa and a Tyreek Hill, Waddle, I mean, you have a stacked team down in Miami. And you can't win games? There's a problem. Oh, everything's fine with Tyreek. Who are you bullshitting? If everything was fine, you'd be able to win games. You'd be able to dominate games with having Tyreek Hill. You're not doing that. I think the Jets come out and possibly dominate the Dolphins. And I think the Broncos come out and beat the Bengals. But that's the rundown of the games. As far as me and John and our challenge, as I want to change this up real quick. As far as me and John with our challenge, last week, I covered last week. Me and John are tied 30. We both have 30. John, Cam, we're tied. We both have 33 wins. I tied things up last week. We had one different pick last week. Okay, every game that we picked last week was the same. The only difference we had was the Chiefs and Giants game. He took the Giants, I took the Chiefs. So with that win, I tied things up. We're both 33-15 on the year. We're tied, and after Thursday night, we're still tied. Now, the Steelers are beating the Vikings right now. Scoring update, 24-14. Steelers are up. We both took the Vikings for the 9 o'clock game today. So, looks like we're both going to possibly suffer a loss with under 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So, but that's all we got for you guys. Before we get out of here, make sure you're heading over to all the Huddle Hub Podcast social medias. If you're on the Twitch or the YouTube, make sure you're hitting that follow or subscribe button. Subscribe on YouTube. That's how you follow. X and TikTok at the Huddle Hub Pod, as we are posting content almost on a daily basis, and help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast going through the 2025 season and beyond. It would definitely be appreciated. Cam, your social medias are going to be on the bottom What do you want to let the people know?
Well, like I said, keep up with me on my socials. I post there about wrestling. And then, of course, check us out on Monday night. After Monday Night Raw, we're talking about some Monday Night Raw. And then, of course, on Wednesday after AEW Dynamite, talking about that as well. And then, we'll be right here again next Sunday morning, talking about some college football and previewing NFL Week 5. So stay tuned for that.
All right, so make sure you're following Cam on all his socials. Making sure you're following Cam on everything that he does. Check out Cam's Wrestling Corner. I promise you will not be disappointed. If you are a pro wrestling fan and you want to hear a fan and their takes, go check out Cam's Pro Wrestling Corner. You won't be disappointed. They're great videos, and I'm not just saying that because this man's digitally sitting next to me. Awesome videos. As far as me, you can check me out on Instagram, X, TikTok, and Snapchat. MetalMike714 is where you find me. I don't put much continuous personal content out there. Most of my content is made here on the shows. But if you want to go follow me personally, go follow me. It would definitely be appreciated. Like Cam said, Monday night over on Rivet City Radio, switching off the Top Media's YouTube channel right after Monday Night Raw is the table spot. And then Wednesday is the boom right after AEW Dynamite as we react to the shows after the shows. We definitely appreciate everybody checking out the live. If you not check out the live, thank you for checking out the replay. As I always say, be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. Good luck to your teams, and we will see you on Tuesday night with myself and John, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here, Huddle Podcast. Deuces.